The U.S. Air Force, USAF, stated that an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, was launched from the Vandenberg Air Force Base, AFB. The launch was carried out by Air Force Global Strike Command with Vandenberg support. It's interesting to note that the Minuteman III launch is the first one hosted by the Vandenberg AFB since it became a part of the U.S. Space Force. USAF 30th Operations Group Commander Kris Barcomb was the decision authority for the missile launch. Barcomb said, "We are very proud to have accomplished this operation with our long-standing mission partner, Air Force Global Strike Command. We look forward to building on this launch as we continue to provide robust, safe, and reliable capabilities critical to the testing and evaluation of the ICBM program and many space and range programs to come." The attached re-entry vehicle traveled about 4,200 miles, or around 6,760 kilometers, to the Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The test was meant to confirm the accuracy and reliability of the ICBM weapon system. It was not in response to any world events or regional tensions. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why American Minuteman III is still one of the most potent ICBMs in the world, even after 50 years of entering service. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. The Minuteman family of missiles has served as the backbone of the U.S. land-based nuclear strategic force since 1962. In 1955, the Soviet Union successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, and in 1957, it launched the Sputnik satellite, surpassing the United States in rocket technology. Fearing that the Soviet Union had the ability to attack the United States with intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBM, the United States made the development of a reliable, rapid-response ballistic missile the highest priority. On February 27, 1958, the U.S. Air Force received approval from the Department of Defense to begin research and development on a new missile designated Weapon System 133A, called the Minuteman. On October 9, 1958, the Air Force announced its selection of Boeing as assembly and test contractor for the Minuteman missile. The weapon is tasked primarily with the deterrence role, threatening Soviet cities with a second strike counter-value counterattack if the U.S. was attacked. However, with the development of the U.S. Navy's Polaris, which addressed the same role, the Air Force began to modify Minuteman into a weapon with much greater accuracy with the specific intent of allowing it to attack hardened military targets, including Soviet missile silos. The Minuteman III began development in 1964 and entered service in 1970. Its command and control lie with the Air Force Global Strike Command. America deployed around 1,000 Minuteman III by the end of the 1970s. The number shrank to around 450 by September 2017. The U.S. military plans to keep the missile in service until at least 2030. Minuteman's series of missiles gained range with incremental versions, with Minuteman III acknowledged to have an operational range of 8,100 miles, or 13,000 kilometers, though the exact range is classified. As per many analysts, the missile actually can travel as far as 9,950 miles, or 16,000 kilometers, depending on the warhead configuration. Minuteman III is designed to be launched from missile silos. A missile silo is a vertical, cylindrical structure constructed underground for the storage and launching of intercontinental ballistic missiles. The structures typically have the missile some distance below ground, protected by a large blast door on top. They're usually connected, physically and/or electronically, to a missile launch control center. Minuteman III missiles are regularly tested with launches from Vandenberg Air Force Base in order to validate the effectiveness, readiness, and accuracy of the weapon system, as well as to support the system's primary purpose, nuclear deterrence. It has nearly 100% reliability. The original inertial navigation system provided it with an accuracy of about 200 meters circular error probable (CEP). But an updated inertial guidance system gives it 120 meters CEP. This basically means the missile can be targeted with near pinpoint accuracy even at long distances. Minuteman III has three-stage solid fuel rocket engines. The first stage is a Thiokol Tu-122. The second stage is Aerojet General SR-19AJ-1. And the third stage is Aerojet Thiokol SR-73 AJTC-1. The solid fuel missile can stand ready for extended periods of time with little maintenance. Hence, these can be launched on command without needing preparation. The President of the United States can authorize a nuclear attack from fixed command centers, such as the White House Situation Room, or also through nuclear football. The nuclear football is a briefcase that contains codes which can be used by the President of the United States to authorize a nuclear attack while away from fixed command centers. The President is always accompanied by a military aide carrying the football. So the missile can be launched at any time and under any circumstances. A multiple independently targetable reentry vehicle, MIRV, is a ballistic missile payload containing several warheads, each capable of being aimed to hit a different target. MIRV allows separately targeted nuclear warheads to be sent on their independent ways after the main propulsion stages of the missile launch have shut down. This technology is very complex and greatly increases the destructive power of a missile. Minuteman III was the first true MIRV-capable missile. It can carry a maximum of 3 warheads, and these can be independently targeted against 3 different locations. It carries W-78 or W-87 warhead. The W-78 thermonuclear warhead is the warhead used on most of the United States Minuteman III missiles. The W-78 has a publicly announced yield of 335 to 350 kilotons of TNT. The W-87 is an improvement on W-78. Its design includes all modern safety features. The original yield of W-87 was 300 kilotons of TNT, but has the announced ability to be upgraded to a yield of 475 kilotons. So a single missile is capable of unleashing destructive power of around 1,000 to 1,400 kilotons of TNT. To give viewers a perspective, Little Boy atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima had a yield of 15 kilotons of TNT, and Fat Man atomic bomb that was detonated over Nagasaki had a yield of 21 kilotons of TNT. The launch was the second of 4 launches scheduled over the next several years to ensure Minuteman III's effectiveness. The Department of Defense, Department of Energy, and U.S. Strategic Command collects data from the launches for continued military development. The U.S. Air Force says this test launch program demonstrates the operational ability of its missiles and ensures the United States maintains nuclear capabilities as part of its national security. The tests are basically meant to make sure that the missiles are in optimal condition, can be launched at a moment's notice, and will hit their target as expected. Over the years, it's been found that Minuteman III has been extremely reliable. It's to be noted that the missile has seen many upgrades over the years to keep them up to date. Actually, more than $7 billion has been spent in the last decade to upgrade the 450 missiles. For example, the system computer was modernized so they could store data for more targets. Though the world has seen the emergence of much more lethal ICBM like Russian Sarmat, the American Minuteman III remains one of the best when it comes to range, reliability, and payload capacity.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.